Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. I'm now going to call upon Mr. Fern Viola of Veterans Affairs Canada to sing the national anthem of the Republic of Korea. I invite the Prime Minister of Canada, the Right Honourable Stephen Harper, to bring greetings from the Government of Canada. Sir?
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Colonel Martin, for that kind introduction. Thanks also to President John Bishop, Terry Wickens, and everyone from the Korean Veterans Association of Canada. Greetings to Consul General Hong, to Lieutenant Governor Onley, Councillor Hames, Minister Blaney, Senator Martin, Member of Parliament Kyle Seaback, and to all the many MPs and senators and other dignitaries who have come today to show support for our Korean War veterans. I'm not going to keep you standing long, but I do want to spend a few minutes on some reflections. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui afin de rendre hommage aux Canadiens qui se sont battus pour la démocratie dans la guerre de Corée. If I can begin with a personal reflection, on my first visit to Korea, I had the privilege of visiting the National Cemetery. I also saw the Joint Security Area and the demilitarized zone. For me, these things were important reminders, both of the sacrifices made by our Canadian Armed Forces and the communist tyranny which they fought against. All Canadians should take pride in our veterans of Korea. Pendant trop longtemps, cette guerre a été appelée la guerre oubliée. Mais je suis heureux de constater que les temps ont changé. For too many years, Korea was called the Forgotten War. But times are finally changing, thanks in part, I should say, to people such as Senator Yana Martin, who worked hard to see that the Senate of Canada declared this day to be National Korea War Veterans Day. Le ministre Blaney annoncera bientôt que notre gouvernement appuie le projet mémoire de l'Institut historique Dominion, qui est intitulé Projet mémoire Histoire de la guerre de Corée. Ainsi, tous les anciens combattants de la guerre de Corée qui sont toujours parmi nous auront l'opportunité de partager leurs souvenirs. As well, Minister Blaney will soon announce that our government is supporting the Historica Dominion Institute's memory project, Stories of the Korean War. This will provide every living Korean veteran with the opportunity to share their memories. Our Canadian veterans of Korea have a story that must be shared with future generations. L'engagement du Canada a commencé le 12 juillet 1950 et cet engagement a connu son moment le plus important lors de la défense de la vallée de Kapyong. Canada's engagement began on July 12, 1950. On that day, 3 Canadian destroyers, the first of 8, were deployed to Korean waters. An RCAF transport squadron followed, as well as 22 fighter pilots. The first ground troops of the Canadian Army Special Force were deployed later that year. Many and noble were their deeds. However, the defense of the Kapyong Valley, the road chosen by the North Koreans and their Chinese allies to attack Seoul, stands out, it's exactly 60 years later, as the defining battle for Canadians. Dug in on Hill 677, the 2nd Battalion of the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry were outnumbered more than 3 to 1. For more than 24 unbroken hours, there was intense hand-to-hand fighting and unimaginable bravery everywhere on Hill 677, as Chinese infantry broke over them in what has been described as human waves. By the end of the day, the hill was completely cut off, surrounded, but when the smoke cleared, the Canadians had held. The communist invasion would go no further. Seoul was saved, and the stage was set for the UN counterattack that drove the invasion back over the 38th parallel. Pendant la guerre de Corée, le célèbre Royal 22e Régiment s'est enrichi d'un 3e bataillon. Cet bataillon servit tour à tour dans la brigade canadienne au sein de la 1e division du Commonwealth en Corée. Canada, then and now, the courageous warrior, the compassionate neighbor. Time does not permit me to refer to the exploits of every Canadian unit whose blood was shed on the hills of Korea. But of the 27,000 Canadians who served there, 516 made the ultimate sacrifice. Many lie buried in Korean soil. And so, with due acknowledgement to Rupert Brooke, we may truly say that there is some corner of a foreign field that is forever Canada. Leur sacrifice est intimement lié à la remarquable ascension de la Corée du Sud, ce pays qui est passé de l'un des plus pauvres du monde à l'un des plus riches. These Canadians' sacrifice is deeply interwoven with the story of South Korea's remarkable ascent from one of the world's poorest countries to one of its most dynamic. And through decades of immigration, Koreans have come here to make enormous contributions to Canada. So let us remember with pride all of those brave Canadians who served in the Korean War. Let us celebrate their triumph, this victory of freedom over tyranny, and may God keep our own land glorious and free. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.